Welcome back to the Anthony Lee Crypto channel. We are live. It is Sunday here in Mississippi. It is beautiful outside. It is a little chilly though. It's like 55 degrees, which is really cold for this time of year. We had like non-stop rain for over a week. I mean like torrential downpours, lightning storms. It's finally cleared out. We got blue skies, but it is a little chilly. I'm supposed to warm up to mid 70s today though, so it should be really nice weather. I know you guys are super interested, so I thought I would let you know. How is everyone? Let's see who we got in here. Max, Mighty Max, what's up, bro? Johnny number 5 says, what's up, crew? Hawkborn, what's up? Salt Chain in the house. Johnny number 5 says, can we just fast forward to the mega dump part? Yeah, talking about the thumbnail. We're gonna talk about that, guys. Eons, good morning, Eon. Salt Chain is with you, John. John boy, Salt Chain wants to see the mega dump. Yeah, Hawkborns. I'm telling you guys, it was like it wasn't even like a little drizzle here and there, which is kind of annoying, just nonstop drizzle. This was like inches and inches. I mean, one night got like 4 inches of rain, and I mean, trees are coming down, and there's limbs and leaves everywhere, and it's just, I mean, like days and days of nonstop rain. Edge just came in here. I got the camera off today. Edge just came in here. He's crawled under my desk and put his head on my feet. This is the neediest 100-pound Doberman you have ever seen. Like, he has always got to be touching you. Always. He is so needy. I'm thinking about studying him out. He's an AKC registered European Doberman. He's 100 years old. He's 100 pounds. He's 2 years old. And we want pick of the litter. So we're interested in having another little needy Edge around here. Edge 2. His real name is Lone Wolf. Lone Wolf Edge. That is his registered name, Lone Wolf Edge. I didn't come up with it. We came up with Edge. My son came up with the name Edge, but the breeder was like, oh, Edge is taken. How about Lone Wolf Edge? I was like, cool, whatever. All right, guys, we got Bitcoin sitting about 78.6. We're going to take a look at some of this. Sorry, guys. Hang on 1 second. All right, sorry about that. Eons. This probably will probably be the total opposite of him. Probably. I'm a little concerned. You know, sometimes it goes one of two ways. Either they're really great together, or I could really see Edge. He's not too aggressive. He can be with strangers sometimes, but he's really needy and sappy, and I mean, I don't know. He's not nearly as intimidating as he looks. But I worry he's going to be jealous because he is so needy of attention that he's going to be really aggressive towards the pup. But we'll see. We'll see. All right, guys. How about those moons? This bull moon so far. Let's see. I don't even have the moon on here. So far, yes, trust me, we went over the moon last week. So far, the moon is producing the bull pump that we looked for. The thumbnail says 81K, then mega dump, guys. I'm really looking for a move to 81, maybe even 84K. All the way up to the golden pocket, fill that CME gap. We have the 200 daily SMA up there. Of course, it's daily, so it is coming down each day. But I expect this move to happen pretty quickly. Today, maybe tomorrow, probably Tuesday at the latest. And I think that will be the top. And let's just say we come to 81K, so somewhere in this dang red box. I'm really looking for about a 20% move to the downside for the rest of the month. I'm looking for a big dump, guys. I'm literally looking to come take all of this liquidity right here. So I think it's coming. I think it's coming this week. I don't think we've finished the whole move this week, although Bitcoin has certainly done that before. But I do think it's coming, and I think it'll last into June. So I think prolonged downside. I think you got one more up thrust here, wipe out all this liquidity, and then it is massive downside. There's historical precedence for this. There is May monthly statistics for this. There is cipher data for this. There is a lot of things that indicate, just not to mention just the sheer common sense of markets move on liquidity, and you've got all this liquidity that has not been taken. I mean, we can mark these out. I mean, look at these: not taken, 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 not taken. All those orange lines have liquidity below them that have not been taken on the way up, which is crazy to have that much and none of it taken. You know, usually you get better dips in this that grab liquidity. Not always, but you know, usually you would set it would look something like this. Let's go to a little more blank chart so you can see. Not total blank, but you have these wicks, and you come here, you come there, you set in a higher low, then you might grab some of that, then move up a little more, move up a little more, move up a little more, grab some of that, then move up a little more. But you don't have that. You've all of these unmitigated lows, all of them, all of them, all of them. So when they do initiate this dump, guys, when you have the first scenario where they grab some liquidity here, and then they, you know, higher lows, and they grab some liquidity and higher lows, it's not as powerful of a move usually down because there's less liquidity. But here, these can offer like a chain reaction of gunpowder, just boom, 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 like dominoes falling over. And that's where you get that big cascading waterfall like this, guys. So this can happen really aggressively and really fast once they start to move. And don't be fooled for those people that are saying, you know, oh, we're going to do all-time highs. They are not going to leave all of this liquidity behind. They're not going to do it. I'm not saying we're going to take out the low. I do think the low is in, but I also think we're going to come down and grab some of this before. And to be quite honest, I think this range lasts for a long time, months. But I do think we come grab all of this. And I think it starts this week. I am putting my TA reputation on the line. I think the big move down starts this week, probably late this week. No later than a week from Monday. No later. But I really think it starts later this week. I'm not saying we're down here later this week. I'm saying this up thrust is over, whether you go to 81, 82, 84, whatever it may be. I think this is over this week, and then you start the descent. So do not get trapped. You're going to see a lot of, here's what's going to happen, guys. You're going to see a lot of people who long this, think, okay, this is it, you know, broke a little bit higher, create a higher high. Now you got a breakout. And you can see a lot of longers coming here, and they're going to get absolutely trapped and wrecked, in my opinion. Them late longing is going to be the fuel that it takes to come grab this. Once you grab this, you don't really need any more fuel because this is your fuel. These trigger short orders as these people get stopped out and liquidated. Short orders are triggered, and that's just gunpowder, dominoes, especially when you get into these. These will bleed you into these. And we could take that out, but historically speaking, you should not take the low. The low should be in for the bear market, in my opinion. Let's look at our fractal. See what our fractal looks like, guys. All right, fractal's still intact as of now. So technically, we don't have to come up to 81K. Technically, the fractal still looks good. And we did talk about this on Friday. I think it was Friday, about how, I'm on the green and red candles. You got a high, right? And then we're currently setting a slightly lower high here. And if you look at the blue fractal, you got a high, and then you set a slightly lower high before rotating down. So if this fractal is going to hold, then you would not mitigate these highs right here. You would just rotate down, and the fractal still looks exact. So far, but I do think this fractal's fixing to be invalidated. Actually, I think it plays out pretty dang similarly. But I think technically speaking, it'd be invalidated by taking these highs. But then I still think you get this nice rotation down. And I think the whole rest of it looks exactly the same. I think this is just going to be the deviation from the fractal. Just like you had a deviation here. The fractal, you can see you came down and made this good W pattern before this leg up. This one you didn't. You just kind of V-shaped it like that. So did that mean the rest of this didn't play out exactly? No, it played out exactly. You moved up. You had this period of consolidation right here. Same thing right here. You came up to the top, had this period of consolidation. Same thing. So it doesn't mean the fractal can't still play out. I just think you're fixing to have a slight deviation from it. The exception would be if you start closing daily candles, like I would say 2 daily candles closed above these. I would say that this is no longer going to play out like this. Or this part. None of it. It would be something completely different at that point. But 2 daily candles closing above this. And I would say, okay, we're probably going to do something else. But as of now, I still like this, even if we slightly take that high and then start moving down. You're going to have really good, let's throw on Cypher here so you can see you should have it really, let's go back to the chart. Should have really good bearish divergence on the daily time frame if you come take this. I know my chart's a little cluttered right now. Sorry, guys. But if you come take this high, you want to extrapolate it. It looks something like this. Come into the dang red box, rotate down. You got higher highs there in price action. You can see the momentum wave right there. Boom, lower. You already have decreasing momentum here. You can see momentum's already decreasing. And you could just picture this as something like this. And then once you break that zero line, it wouldn't be necessarily be one giant mountain down. But it would be something like that. So you could see you have decreasing momentum here. So we're expecting a wind down. This would just give it that really good daily bearish divergence that we need to go ahead and wind down below the zero line. And when you get below the zero line on momentum waves, that's when you get your really good moves down. You can see the last time we came below the zero line here, correlated with this move here. Time before that, came below it here. And that gave you the big dump from 98 to 60K. So you can see it is winding in that direction. So this is coming. Invicta would rather Bitcoin doesn't make another high. Yeah, I don't really care if it does or not. Personally, I would rather it go ahead and make the high real quick. I think the high is very bearish. That would give you a triple drive of, well, let's see. Let me clear some of this up. Give you a triple drive of daily bearish divergence, which is very powerful and has typically almost always led to a massive move to the downside. This is very slight drive of bear div now, but it is there. You can see that. It is there now. Very slight, but it's there. And this would give you another reinforced drive of bearish divergence. But either way, like I said, you can see the mountains or the momentum waves, whatever you want to call them, trending to the downside. And eventually they will break this zero line. And that's where you get your massive moves to the downside, typically. So this is coming, guys. It is coming. Whether it goes from here, 81K, 84K, 120K, it is coming. Sooner rather than later. And I have evidence to back that up. And of course, just because we talk about some indicator or some historical data, that does not mean it has to happen this time. I acknowledge. But I believe that it will. Guys, if you're interested, I am trading on KCEX. KCEXtrading.com. I got stopped out of my short trade. I showed you that. I am looking for a new short trade. I think this is the one. Let me see. Yeah. Boom. Got stopped out of this. I don't know what's happening. There it is. Got stopped out of that short trade. Made $2,000 on that. I showed you all the P&Ls. I'm not fixing to run through those. If you're interested in my P&Ls, go back and look at Friday's video. We walked through all of those. There were several. We made about $4,000 last week leverage trading. We need to talk about these altcoins too, guys. I keep posting about this stuff, and I don't think many folks are participating in Discord. You can join the Anthony Lee Discord. There's a link in the description below, or AnthonyLeeCrypto.com. Join the VIP Discord. And I think some people think I just talk trash about this. But look, let me just show you real quickly, and then we're going to get back on Bitcoin. I'm going to show you why Bitcoin's about to head down. I started trading WorldCoin in April of last year. Just looking at WorldCoin. I also trade Fetch AI, a couple of others, but WorldCoin, I'm just going to show you what I've been doing. Okay, my first WorldCoin purchase was on 421. It's split into two orders. Let me just show you when I sold it the next day at 423, April 23rd. I sold 78,000 WorldCoin. I didn't withdraw any money. Okay, I've just been spot accumulating, okay? 78,000 WorldCoin, okay? I've just been taking little spot trades here and there. I've not added one single nickel to my WorldCoin holdings. This was 1 year ago, April 23rd. Now on, let's see. I think it was February 1st of this year, I started bringing these trades to the Discord. And I did my first WorldCoin trade on February 1st. And let me see if I can find that. I can't even find it. I don't even know where it was. Here we go. February 1st, I did my first WorldCoin trade for the Discord. That is right here. So remember, I had 78,000 coins that I started with. Remember that, 78,000 WorldCoin. February 1st, I had 140,000 WorldCoin. So I had almost doubled my WorldCoin holdings, okay? But I wasn't really trading a whole lot of spot trading during that time. But I did almost double my spot holdings. Pay attention, guys. So I went from 78,000 WorldCoin to 140,000 WorldCoin as of 3 months ago. And then I kind of started aggressively spot trading, not putting a single other nickel in of my own capital, but spot trading. And I started doing it mostly because I was doing it with Discord, and I wanted Discord to have life-changing money. And I don't think you understand, this is where it's built, at least from my experience, by spot trading altcoins during the bear market, okay? So I went from 78,000 to 140,000, and then as of yesterday, we have 362,000 WorldCoin, okay? 78,000 to 140,000, and since I started trading with Discord, I have more than doubled my WorldCoin holdings, okay? So I'm at 4x my WorldCoin holdings. Let's see. 362,000 WorldCoin divided by 78,000 WorldCoin. I have 4.6x, almost 5x, 4.5x my WorldCoin holdings in 1 year, in 12 months. From April 23rd to May 2nd. So in 12 months, I have added 4.5 times more coins than I had, okay? So let's say I was going to make $100,000 in the next cycle. I'm just making up numbers. Let's say I was going to make $100,000 in the next cycle with my 78,000 coins, okay? Now I'm going to make $465,000 in the next cycle for having added not one nickel more, okay? I didn't add a single penny, but I'm going to make 4.5 times more profit, whatever that profit may be. $400,000, $4 million, $40 million. I don't know, probably not $40 million, but you know, you get the point. I'm going to make 4.5 times more because I've just been spot trading, just buying some dips and selling some pumps. That's it. I have little specific parameters that I'm looking for on these trades, and I give most of them in the Discord. And I trade with a few different coins, just spot accumulation. That's it, guys. That's it. That is how you make life-changing money without doing anything extra, without putting any extra money in. It costs you nothing. I highly encourage you to do it. You're missing out. I mean, if you haven't done it since I started it, you've already missed out on more than doubling your holdings, you folks in Discord. That's more than double whatever profit you were going to make next cycle. You've already missed out if you haven't started. And you don't have to make the kind of profit that I make or trade with the amount of coins that I trade. It doesn't matter. Double profit is double profit, whether it's double $100 or double $100,000. It's twice as much as you had before. So just keep that in mind, guys. Anyway, if Bitcoin does pull off this 20% move to the downside, some of your alts are going to do another 40, 50, 60% down. Believe it, guys. So get ready. Get ready. All right. What I want to show you, we've looked at the fractal, the moons. Let's look at, let me switch charts here. Let's go back to, we went over these monthly stats for the month of May, okay? I want to show you something really cool. All right, so there's always two scenarios, right? You start out a month, right? You can go up or you can go down, obviously, right? The goal is to try to figure out where you're going to go if you go up or where you're going to go down if you're going to go down, right? And I have compiled, for those of you new, I'm about to show this flashbang. Get ready for a flashbang. Watch your eyes, guys. Let me find it. Monthly stats. Here we go. All right. So what I've got here is the historical monthly data for the month of May for Bitcoin. This includes opening price, closing, wick high, wick low, the high date, the low date, all sorts of information. I've gone through and averaged them all out for the full history of Bitcoin. I use the Bitstamp chart because it has the most history, so the prices and stuff reflect the Bitstamp chart, but they're all pretty close. What I want to draw your attention to, so when we first, let me go back to the chart and then we're going to come back to this. When we first showed these stats, I was leaning towards a move to the downside first, which would look something like that. Bitcoin historically has set the low or the high in the first week of May, okay? So 85% chance the low or the high comes in the first week, okay? Pay attention. 62% of the time was the low, okay? So I was leaning towards the low just because you always, in my opinion, I always rather, go with the statistical higher probability, okay? Which would say the low would come first. Regardless of any other indicator, statistically, the low comes first. But that also means 38% of the time, the high comes first, okay? This is looking, now I know it's only the third, so in the next few days, Bitcoin could just boom and fall down 20%. I get it, and it's certainly done that before, but it's looking like the high is going to come in the first week, okay? Which is fine. I don't really care if the low or the high comes first. I just need to be ready when it gets there so that I can reverse, because the stat for May is 100% of the time, 100%. If you open to the high side or you open to the low side, 100% of the time you've had a reversal and you've closed the month the opposite. So what that means is 100% of the time, if you set the high first, that you didn't finish up here somewhere still in the green, right? You did not finish in the green. 100% of the time you came down and finished in the red, and vice versa. If you open to the downside, 100% of the time you came and finished the month green. So just because you open positive does not mean you close the month positive, and in fact you never have. So we are expecting the move looking like to the upside, but we're expecting a negative May. Does that make sense? We're expecting them to come down and close negatively, even though we're opening positively. So I'm going to flip this around to the high side first stats, since that's what it's looking like is most likely. And here we go. This is what we're looking for. Well, the boxes are in different places. Why are they in different places? Because you have different stats based upon whether or not you open or close to the high side or downside, right? So if you open to the high side, I'm gonna pull the flashbang chart back over for you guys. Pay attention, this is good stuff, guys. We nail this stuff almost every month. All right, so let's go through and delete anything except opening and setting the high in the first week, okay? Or, setting the high first. So the high prior to the low. We're gonna delete everything else. Oops, let me start with delete. Oh, I'm pressing the wrong button. That'd probably help. Start over. I'm on the wrong thing again. Let's try this one more time. So when we delete everything, and I'm simply going to leave the years that we set the high first. Boom. These are the years we set the high first. I deleted everything else. So when we set the high first, the average move to the upside is 7.19% when we set the high first. And all of these except one was set in the very first week. The exception being it was set on the 10th back in 2021. Okay, so what is that? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So 80% chance the high comes in the first week. When the high comes before the low, we get a move of average of 7%. Actually, if you delete that outlier of 16, you get an average of 4.8%. So basically an average between 5 and 7% is what you get when you set the high first. Pay attention to that. So what we've done is, you can see where this green arrow starts. That is the first. That is when I drew this. And let's take 5 to 7% from there. And that puts you up to our box right there. I got it at 5 to 8%. There's our box. So we're looking for a move up into that box. Historically, when you open to the high side, this is the box you go to, okay? And let's also go and there's your lows. Oops. Right there. So we'd be looking for a move of about 14 to 17% to the downside. So right in there, guys, this is what we're looking for. This is what we're looking for. Historically speaking, this is how things should play out. Hope that makes sense. This is some really good data. And those of you who have followed the channel for a while, we do these stats every single month, and they play out almost to perfection. Okay, now last month's stat played out, I mean, to a dang T. I mean, we nailed the box. I think we did almost all of them. I personally got the directional bias incorrect last month, so that was on me, but the stats were correct. I just kind of went against the stats. Actually, I didn't go against the stats. I anticipated a move up then down, and instead we got to move down then up. So I got the initial opening incorrect. So that was on me. But the box is played out. So that's what we're looking for. We're very close to this box. Now, this box starts at about 80K. Really, it's about 79.8 and goes up to about 82K. So anywhere in there, 79, let's call it 80K, 80 to 82K. Now you could actually, let's see if I can copy this. See if I can copy this. Let's try to take this back over to our chart here. See if I can paste it in. Oh no, that's terrible. Yeah, I think that's about right. Yeah, right there. That's what it would look like, guys. Let me turn off these other dang boxes. This is what it would look like, guys. Something like this. I've removed all my other dang boxes, so it would look for something like this. Now, we could, you know, this red box being the average move to the upside, that is the word average, of course, means some months you didn't go that high, some months you went higher. So you could technically come up even higher, which I don't know. I kind of suspect we just get a little liquidity grab here of these highs, a fake out, get everybody bullish thinking we're headed up to the gap fill, 84K, and then I think we just crash it on down. But we certainly could come up to this golden pocket, CME gap, 200-day SMA up there, a lot of confluence up there. Guys, I'll tell you, if we do come to this area right here, I will be looking to heavily, I mean freaking heavily, short Bitcoin. That would also be a retest of the underneath side of our breakdown area here. You can see, boom, we held this range and we finally broke it. That was the big crash down. So Big resistance level there. I mean, I would probably do $1 million trade right there, guys. This would be a big one. Of course, I'd want to see my divergences and reaction. It wouldn't just be a blind entry, but a lot of reasons to find a big rejection there. I mean, even if we continued up from there, I cannot see us blasting through that. It would be something like this, in my opinion, if we even continued up at all. But more than likely, it'd be a continuation down. I should have a box on there. Yeah, I got a box on that. Let me erase this. If we were to make it up to this box right here, heavy short, guys. Heavy short. Heavy short. This would be like a legit Babylon 2.0 in my opinion, potentially. I mean, you would look to make tens of thousands of dollars on this, on a $1 million trade. I mean, just coming to grab all of this. In my opinion. That's how I will be playing it anyway. But I just don't know that Bitcoin has the juice to get there. The buyers certainly are not stepping in. So if it comes, it'll be on a massive liquidation event only. I just don't know if there's enough juice here and here. The problem is, guys, the reason there may be, and I just don't know, I'll be honest, I just don't know. When they grabbed these highs over here, so here's how it works. You have these highs way over here, all right? Boom. And you can see we wicked above it, but guys, we barely wicked above these. I mean, freaking barely. Like 0.15%. A lot of people will put their stops and their liquidation points, you know, 0.5% or 1% above. So I'm not sure that we came above this enough to actually create that liquidation event that I'm talking about. So if not, then we still have liquidity from people trading here. Then you have people who shorted here, and then you have people who shorted a third round here. All of them have their liquidations up in here. So if you hit this, you could, in theory, trigger long trades from here, here, and here, which could certainly propel you up there really, really, really fast. However, I'm leaning more towards this. But I don't really care. I don't really care. It doesn't really matter to me. I'm just ready when we get there and I'm watching for my reaction. That's all that really matters. So far we've held this 0.5 fib, guys. So far we've held a 0.5 fib multiple times. I'm on the daily chart. So 1, 2, you can count that, 3, 4, 5, and 6 times testing it. The fib is from our high at 98K before the move down to our low at 60K. 0.5 fib is holding right now. Really juicy target here, guys. I'm telling you, not financial advice, but if you're not interested in this box and you just chicken out on this box, or you get in a trade in this box somewhere and you close it because you panic, then you should never trade again, because this is one of the best looking target short boxes I've seen in a long time. With confluence, CME gap, golden pocket, 200-day SMA, back test of the breakdown. It looks really, really good. This should be one of those you make. I mean, you know, it doesn't have to play out. What do I know? Salt Chain does better with spot trades. These spot trades are where it's at, guys. If you are not doing the altcoin spot trades, then you just don't like making free money, period. Doesn't cost you a dime. You can't lose a dime. The only way you can lose, I'll tell you what's beautiful about these spot trades right now. Let's go look at something like WorldCoin, which I know the chart looks terrible. But, I mean, this thing is down. Jeez. Over 98%, guys. I mean, you can't lose on this. The only way you can lose on this if there's some catastrophic event or scandal, this thing goes to zero. I mean, you can't lose. First of all, you're not leverage trading, so you can't lose unless you voluntarily choose to sell for a loss. But, I mean, eventually you know you're going to come back up and grab some of this liquidity eventually, most likely, not financial advice. But you're not at risk. I mean, you are at risk. Of course, it could go to zero. Everything could go to zero. Amazon could go to zero. You don't know. I don't know. But your risk is so low. Like if you were up here trying to spot trade or up here trying to spot trade, yeah, you're at freaking risk of having a 90% drawdown. Sure, you're at a high risk. But way down here, when you're at 23 cents versus a $12 all-time high, your risk is significantly diminished. And again, there is no risk as far as you being forced liquidated or forced losing money. The only risk would be if you voluntarily chose to sell for a loss, because you cannot lose on spot unless you voluntarily sell. So, God, now is the time to be ballsy. Now is the time, in my opinion, not financial advice, now is the time for me to be taking opportunities, taking shots at trades, because sure, we could go a little lower, and we probably will. When Bitcoin rolls over, this will go lower. But I mean, gosh, I know eventually this thing's coming back. So now's the time. I'm just not worried about it. Like if we were up here, $12 high, we're trading in this zone right here. Yeah, I'm a little worried about price coming back here. So I'm a little more cautious with my trades in here. You know, I'm only taking super premium setups in here. But down here, give me everything you can give me, because I want to accumulate. I want to blow my bag up. I started with 78,000 coins. I have 362,000 now. I would love to have 800,000 coins. 800,000 coins to take this thing into the next bull run. This is a $12 freaking asset. If I can get 800,000 coins, I don't care if it only goes to $2. Okay, give me my $1.6 million and I will close, and I don't give a damn if it goes to $30. I'm going to take my 1.6 million from 800,000 coins that didn't cost me one single penny more than I spent a year ago. But now, in my opinion, is the time to take chances on accumulation, because how much lower can you really go? You're down 98%. Famous last words, right? Watch it go down to like 3 cents. But you get the point. You get the point. And it doesn't even have to be this coin. This is not the only coin we trade in Discord. We trade Fetch. Fetch chart looks much better. But really, how much lower can you go on this? I mean, yeah, you've come down here before, but this was 7 years ago. Haven't been this low in 7 years. And this was the release of the coin, immediate sell-off. So overinflated release of coin into a bear market, immediate sell-off. Once you found buyers and left, you never came back. I mean, this is it. You never came back. And I don't anticipate you coming back below there again. So this is the time to take chances. I bought Fetch right here. Less sub 14 cents. Gave it to you in Discord. It immediately within a week pumped up to like 27 cents. That's 100% rally, almost 100% rally. Gave it to you in Discord. Folks aren't taking them, and that's cool. It's your money. It's your money. I'm just trying to tell you, this is my third bear market. Trying to tell you what I've learned from the first two. Let's look at, let's go back to the chart. Oh, yeah. Let's go to the chart. Edge is in here snoring. All right, let's go to the weekly chart. I'm on the Bitstamp chart. I'm going to erase some of these lines. We have these lines on here. We've talked about this with the money flow and the RSI. This is our proof, quote unquote proof, that the bear market bottom is in, the low is in, the bottom is not in. A lot of people get that confused, and maybe I'm just nitpicking on words. But that means, let me show you. Just like in the last cycle, or a cycle before, whatever, you know, you set the low here, but the bottom was still forming, right? So it took some time. I mean, you didn't set the low and then boom, the bottom was in and we're gone. You still formed a bottom, even though the low was in, right? Here, set a low here. I know you mitigated this low later, but you know, you set a low and then you formed a bottom, right? I do think the low is in, but the bottom is not done. I think the low is in, but you're gonna bottom, 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 just like this, okay? In my opinion. I want to show you a couple things on this chart though. We've looked at this already, so we'll just briefly cover this. I'm on the weekly. The reasons we think that the low is in. We have the RSI and money flow kind of 1-2 punch, kind of jab knockouts, the jab and roundhouse. That has always indicated the bottom is here and the low is in fact in. You get RSI sub 30, right? This is way back to 2011. I don't know that's too far back to mean anything. But anyway, RSI sub 30, low is in. Let's fast forward here, 2015. RSI sub 30, but you know, you weren't sure. But the low is in. You didn't know it. How did you confirm it? Let me move this line so you can see. So there's the low, right? All right, move it back. That's the RSI hitting sub 30. However, you fast forward a little while. Money flow comes into the red and cipher on the weekly, and then as soon as it crosses back to the green, I call that confirmation, right? Right? It's kind of like having a candle cross a line, candle breakout, and then you have a confirmation signal, which is the closure, right? So this would be the confirmation to me, would be having this money flow right here cross back to the green, right? And what happened when you got that? The low was already in. You didn't know it, but this confirmed it. Like, okay, all right. I thought the low was in because of RSI, but just in case, boom, confirmed. Boom, bottom was in, low was in, up and out, right? Doesn't mean you went straight up. You actually had a pretty good pullback. If you can see, I know it doesn't look like much, but look at this next candle, the very next candle. It doesn't look like much, but that was a 21% pullback, guys. It doesn't look like much because it's pretty much up only, but that is a 21% red candle. So pretty big pullback, which is kind of what we're talking about getting on Bitcoin now. Fast forward to 2018, guys. You got, I'll move this. White line, that is your RSI sub 30. You see that down bottom. You can trace it down to the bottom, sub 30. That is your low. That is your bear market low, but you didn't know that. You just kind of knew RSI below 30 could be the low. Fast forward. You had money flow coming to the red, bear market red. As soon as you tick back to the green, boom, there's your confirmation that the low is in. Now the low had already been in from the RSI, but you didn't know it. This confirmed it, and you never mitigated that. Now you did actually wind up taking the big old Rona dump later. So from the time you got the cross, look at that. So you got the cross right here, right? On that candle opening right there. And let's trace it down to the bottom of the Rona wick. That is a 33% move to the downside. So you still got a dump from the time of confirmation money flow on the weekly, turning into the green. You still got a dump. Now it took months, almost a year, but you did actually get a move down of 33% before moving up and out to the bull run. But still, you never, even with that dump, you never took out the low from the RSI. Or the low was there, excuse me. You never took out the low from the RSI. So the low was in on the RSI. It was confirmed on the money flow, okay? Let's fast forward. 2022. This is sort of the exception to the rule. Let's move this. You see you set the low here, right? You got the low, boom. RSI was sub 30, right? Move it back over. You can see that sub 30 RSI. tells you the low is in, but you're not sure. It is not confirmed. You have money flow in the red. Pay attention, guys. Money flow in the red, but it never crossed back to the green. It stayed in the red, okay? And it stayed in the red, and you did get one more FTX scandal, but technically you got one more dip to the downside, right? Took out this low, so one more low was set, right? But you never got that confirmation on the money flow. However, once you finally got it, it's very hard to see. It's very small because you kind of flippy-floppy back and forth, red to green here. But once you got that first cross to the green, that was your confirmation that the low is in, and you never revisited it, not even close. Now, it doesn't mean you didn't go down from the time you got the cross. You still took a few weeks and went down 18%, but you didn't even come close to our low down here, FTX low, right? So the low was in by the time you got the cross into the green. Let's fast forward to now. Current price action. All right, where do we get? Did we get the RSI cross 30? Yeah, right there. Boom. RSI cross to the 30. Did we get money flow confirmed? Keyword being confirmed in the green. Yes. Got it right there. You see that? Okay. So we have, let me move this. We have the low here, 60K. Boom. And now we have confirmed, closed and confirmed weekly money flow back in the green. The low is in, guys. It has never not been in when this has happened. Now, we've discussed the exception, the statistic, the 100% statistic that has also never failed. And I'm going to show you that in a second. But that doesn't mean you can't get a move down. Remember, guys, we got a 20% move down, an 18% move down, and a 33% move down after the green money flow, after the low is in. So if from this point of the cross, confirmed cross, we came down to near the low, that's another 20% move down, guys. So we could still come take out all of this liquidity right here, not take out the low, grab all the liquidity, and still have our stats remain 100%. Okay? And in fact, that would be the expected move because you've always gotten a move down of a minimum of 18% following the money flow cross. Sometimes that happened immediately the following week, right? But in the Rona case, it took almost a year before you got the dump down. But that was a bigger dump. That was 33%. Actually, the Rona dump was much bigger, but I'm talking from the close, the confirmation. The total Rona dump here was actually more like 63%. But if you took the measurement from right here where you had the confirmation of money flow, you only got about a 33% move down. So we should still move down at some point. We just should not take out the low. Now, the exception to that would be your Fibonacci's, which people are going to holler about the fibs. Every time you have come to the 786 fib here in 2015, 2019, 786, 2022, 786, and thus far we have not even come to the golden pocket, not even to the 618, guys. So it's a valid argument. This one is 100%, and the RSI / money flow is also 100% statistic. People are going to say the law of diminishing returns. So each cycle you have less and less profits. Bitcoin increases by less percentage, so you would expect the percentage drawdown to be less, right? Well, that doesn't make sense because it's been diminishing each and every time, right? 52,000, 12,000, 2,700. So even with diminished returns, you have still had the same 786 drawdown. So you may be going up less, but you're still coming down 78.6%. So far. Could this time be different? Sure. And in fact, one of these 100% stats will be broken this time. Because if price does come to the 786, right? If price does come to the 786, then you will have violated your RSI / money flow combo 100% stat. So either that one will be breaking, right? Follow me? either the RSI money flow combo will be broken or the 786 retracement statistic will be broken. One of the two will be violated this cycle. You cannot have both because these two have already fired off. And I believe that the 786 will be violated. I think the low is in. I think we come down about I don't know, 15 to 18, 20%, something like that. Sweep these, bounce around, and eventually move up and out. That's just my opinion, but I could be wrong. And the reason is, guys, money flow is king, period. Money flow is king. Money flow has always been king. Money flow will always be king. It indicates what it says, the flow of money into the market or out of the market. And right now, on a powerful weekly high time frame basis, it is flowing in. One more thing I want to show you here. Let me clear some of this and then go ahead and pile in some questions if you have them, but I'm going to show you one more thing. Let me refresh this, clear it up. Staying on the Bitstamp charts, weekly time frame. Let me take these averages off. All right, so let's just look at, and I hate to talk about seasonality things because, you know, who knows. But so here we set, let's look at current price action, right? We set this initial kind of low here in early February. Let me slide this over a little. Set this in early February. Then we had another low here in April. All right, okay, so early February and into April. Let's look at the last cycle. We had this low come in like January 31st. So late January, let's call it February, close enough February. Then you came in late April, first week of May. And then you had another low come in late June, right? Okay. So we got February, April, and then June. February, April, and June. Remember that. Let's go back to the previous cycle, 2018 bear market. You had the low coming here in February. You had another low coming here in April. Good bounce right into first part of May. Look, first week of May you started retracing, and you set the low, same thing right here, mid to late June. But pretty much the second half of May and all of June you trended down, right? So February, April, June, right? Those are your lows, February, April, June. And then here we're all the way back to 2014. You had the low set in February, low set in April. And this one, it took you some time. You did not. This is the one difference. You didn't come back into a low until September, but it was still a massive low. But I don't really put too much weight on things that happened in 2014. I mean, come on, guys. Back here, Bitcoin, I mean, was worth $200. $200. It's just hard to compare a $200 asset with something that's now worth, what, 80K. But other than that one slight variance, you had a February, April, and then you skipped June, and your low came in September. But here in 2018, once you started having a much more mature asset, kind of the asset we recognize today, February, April, June. Those are your three lows. Last cycle, February, April, June. And right here, what happens? February, next low here in April. So I would look for a June low. Something like that. And I don't know what shape it'll take. Will it come down and take out the low like it did here? I don't really know. Could it? I don't know. I have no idea. And in all of those, as a matter of fact, you did come later that year, 1 year from the high, actually, exactly 1 year from the high. Topped here in December. You set the low here in December. Same thing, November to November. So you could actually come lower again in October. We'll revisit that as we get closer, but for now we're focused on this May drop into June low, which you've gotten every single cycle except for 2014. Now, of course, these look very different, right? I mean, this looks very different. This structure, kind of a descending triangle type structure there, looks very different than this, right? This is just higher highs and higher lows, kind of a descending falling wedge, whatever you call that. But nonetheless, you still set the lows, February, April, June, February, April, June, you still set the lows. So that, given with our monthly statistics, given with our likely soon to be triple drive of daily bearish divergence, would tell me that we're about to set the high in the first week of May, and then you're going to have relentless downside pressure for the rest of May and into June until you set a low down in here somewhere, most likely. Anyone have any questions? Hope I explained that well. I feel like I kind of rambled through it, but wanted to make sure you guys kind of saw what I was seeing. And if it looks like we're going to initiate this dump, guys, watch out for your alts. That would be the time for me for about a period of a month, probably, you know, let's say the second half of May and through the first half of June, that I will not be spot buying alts. Because the spot buy, you got to have pumps, right? You got to have pumps, right? You got to move down, even if they're small move down. You got to have moves down and moves up, right? You got to be able to buy this and sell this, rebuy it here, resell it there, rebuy it here, resell it. You know, you got to be able to do these things. But if this thing plays out like we're expecting in second half of April through the first half of June, don't get caught with your hand in the cookie jar here thinking you're about to pump, you're about to pump, you're about to pump, you're about to pump. Oh shit, I done missed it. And next thing you know, your bag is 50% less. You don't have to sell for a loss, because you should eventually come back up, but I just don't think you're going to have this good choppy tradable price action. I don't think you're going to have it. I think it's going to look a lot more like this. And this is a no trade. This is danger. This is danger, right? Because if you bought here thinking you're going to still chop like this, and you come down here and bounce, I mean, you never get back to here. You never get back to there. You will eventually, most likely, but the point is, I think you're fixed to have I think you're fixed to have one of these. So I will be sitting on my hands once we start this descent on Bitcoin, and I'll see where these alts fall. And then I will resume from that point forward. Let's see, Hawkborn, with that fast move down, is that a massive volume gap, or is there any kind of free money zone in there somewhere? No, it's not a volume gap at all. In fact, there's a lot of volume. I'm assuming you're talking about Bitcoin. There's a ton of volume. It's just that none of the liquidity has been taken. None of these have been taken out. None of these wick lows have been taken out. So boom, 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 boom. None of those have been taken. So whenever you take one of those, whenever price comes down and grabs one of those, grabs liquidity below it, it's going to create a sell order, okay? That's how when you see it break a top like this, you know, it'll be real slow, and then it breaks and it goes boom, boom, like super fast, big move up. It's because it triggers a bunch of buy orders up here, right? And you'll get the same thing here. You'll take this, trigger a bunch of buy orders. Well, there will be nothing to buy it up, most likely. I mean, who knows? I don't really know what orders are there, but what it's going to do is going to trigger that fast move right into this, which is going to trigger that fast move of sell orders, which is going to trigger you right into this fast move, and it's a domino effect. Boom, 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 boom. And so it's not that there's no volume here. It's that all these people are going to start getting stopped out and liquidated and triggering sell orders. And they're so close together that as soon as you trigger one, it shoots you right into the next one, which shoots you into the next one, which shoots you into the next one. Does that make sense? That's how you're going to get this. And everybody's going to be trying to catch this knife. And I'm telling you, do not try to catch this knife that's coming. There is a freaking knife fall coming. And do whatever you want to do, but you will be far better to get out of the way. And if you want to know when you can catch the knife, in my opinion, flip over to your VIX, your VIX, and be watching it for this gap fill right here. Once you see that gap fill, then maybe start looking. I mean, this thing could go way up here, so you could continue to fall on Bitcoin, but I don't know. But I would at least want to watch this gap fill before I even thought about taking a long trade. Watch the VIX, guys. Don't forget the VIX. Don't forget this gap fill on the VIX. It's coming. It's coming. Salt Chain says it all makes sense. Just waiting to see what it does this week. Yeah, I'll look for the move up today, tomorrow, Tuesday at the latest. Oh, I don't know what we'll get today and tomorrow. I forgot about this. The holiday. Asia and UK are closed today and tomorrow. China, UK, Asia, UK, they're all closed. They won't reopen until Tuesday night. So it'll just be the US tomorrow and Tuesday. Apparently it's their Labor Day. So all the other major markets are closed. So I don't know. Sometimes that just is slow, boring. But if the US wants to take advantage and they want to move the market, it is really easy for them to move it tomorrow because there is no Asia or UK to stand in the way and try to stop them. Usually you don't get much. Usually it's pretty dead. However, when one of the markets does decide to move on a holiday for the other markets, that's when you get your bigger moves. That's when you get those really violent moves, which is great because when the other markets open, when they finally do reopen, they typically tend to reverse it. Come grab that liquidity that they missed out on. They bring the boat back. So like Asia UK's closed the next couple days. So if the US wanted to dump this, just say dump it, then Asia opens, boom, they come violently, V-shape recover, and bring the boat back to where it started. That's usually how that works. But more often than not, it's just kind of slow. And then when all the markets are open, you get the moves to one way or the other. So, all right, guys, that's it for me. I'm out of here. I hope you guys have a great day. Love you guys. The Lord loves you. It's a good day. I'll see you guys.